In the kingdom of Aurea, the king along with his knights chases a dragon across the hills. They go after the beast towards a cave, wherein the group is shocked by everything they see. Spoiler ahead, watch out! At that point, the dragon flies in and blows fire, killing nearly all of the knights with one blow. It then uses its tail as a weapon to capture and kill the rest of the knights one by one. Finally, the dragon reaches the ruler, who falls to his knees. Many centuries later, in a northern region, Floria and Elodie chop up anything they are able to find. They happen to be the local lord's daughters, so they undertake everything they're capable of to support their fellow citizens who are struggling with hunger and a cold environment. Then, unexpectedly, the two sisters notice a carriage pass by, which is unusual. They return home to find their father, Lord Bayford, and stepmother, Lady Bayford, chatting with a nun. Lord Bayford suddenly informs Elodie that the royal family of Aurea expects her to get married to their prince. Elodie first says no, but Lord Bayford encourages her after he explains that their community will be given sufficient funding to secure their lives through many years. Sometime later, the family sets sail for Aurea. Once they approach close to their goal, the vessel encounters a dense mist, and the crew becomes frightened of some strange creatures in the darkness, which eventually turn out to be two enormous dragon statues. Once they arrive, the family feels overwhelmed by how wealthy the area is. The servants lead them to their apartments and inform them that they will see the members of the royal family the following day. Elodie walks over to the balcony so she can take in the view, then observes a girl on another balcony who has been quickly taken away by a maid. Then, at night, when she heads back to the balcony, she observes that there is no lighting in the other girls' rooms. She is also amazed at the sight of flames in the distance, which indicates that someone is ascending the peak in the darkness of the night. Elodie's family encounters the royals the following day. Queen Isabel invites Elodie to enjoy time with Prince Henry prior to their marriage. Elodie and Henry connect and enjoy an excellent dialogue. After Henry praises Elodie's creativity in the letter she wrote, she inquires about the mistreats she witnessed last night. Henry adds that it constitutes one of 3 traditional ceremonies held to honor their forefathers. That is the reason why the wedding happens on the same day. Meanwhile, in the castle, Lord Bayford ends up talking about the transaction with Isabel and looks upset. Lady Bayford goes to check on him, but he claims nothing is wrong. Lady Bayford then tries to have a conversation with Isabel, who fails to understand it well. When Lady Bayford says that she believes the family ought to come together and get closer, Isabel responds that this is simply an arrangement put together to satisfy the needs of both parties. She needs a princess, and Bayford's land requires cash. She further informs Bayford that the girl is the daughter of a rope maker and ought to remember her position. In the evening, the upset Lady Bayford rushes to warn Elodie that there seems to be something strange going on, and she feels that the wedding should have been stopped. But before anyone is able to speak about anything else, Lord Bayford arrives and orders everyone to go to bed. The next morning, the maids help Elodie in getting ready for the big day. She's outfitted well, equipped with a blunt dagger and a perfume diffuser. The wedding passes beautifully. Henry and Elodie exchange rings, share a kiss, and Elodie receives her own crown. Elodie then says goodbyes to her family, then gets into a carriage with Henry, who reveals that they will be attending the traditional ceremony on the mountain. They climb a rough set of stairs, and Elodie is shocked to see a group of people wearing scary golden masks. The queen hands Elodie a coin, claiming she is going to preserve the kingdom. Later, they out to go inside, where Isabelle tells a story. When their ancestors came to this island, they found a dragon that was the last of its kind on Earth. The dragon attacked the little village right away as it realized the humans had settled down, so the king put together his troops and attempted to defeat the beast. However, the dragon killed everyone but the king, who had no choice but to give up all 3 of his daughters so that the island would be shared. Isabel then proceeds to explain that they commemorate the king's sacrifice in each generation and place a cut on Henry's and Elodie's hands, then pressing their hands together in order to mix their blood and cover the 2 hands with a cloth, saying that Elodie is now legally of royal family member. Next, Elodie throws the coin, assuming that the celebration is completed. Henry grabs the girl up to take her across the bridge, then proceeds to apologize and throw away her into the empty space. Elodie screams as she collapses and hits many branches before collapsing in a mud puddle while falling down. She wakes up minutes later, having wounds all over her body. However, she sits up and starts screaming for help. There is no one standing on the bridge, but her voice awakens the dragon hidden inside the cave. She tries to walk out by herself, but she falls once more and experiences another injury. At that point, she notices other jewels that aren't related to her and recognizes the royals have been killing girls for the dragon over generations. Suddenly, an explosion sounds through the tunnel, and dozens of birds on fire fly over Elodie for several minutes. Elodie searches for an escape route, only to stop when she notices the dragon arriving. Elodie runs beneath a rock as the dragon begins speaking, claiming that each generation of the monarchy has to repay and that it could smell royal blood in Elodie. Looking at her scar, Elodie realizes the ceremony had been carried out to confuse the dragon. Elodie runs, cries out, and enters a tunnel as the dragon blows fire behind her. The flames also go through the tunnel, but Elodie manages to locate a safe position just in time. There, she sees a burned body and recognizes it as the girl she saw standing on the balcony. When Elodie hears the dragon approaching her again, she attempts to get away via a small hole. Elodie tries to hide in a tiny cavern after much difficulty as the flames approach. Unfortunately, some fire still gets to her leg and burns her leg. The dragon is unable to reach her since there is no space for its large body. Elodie cuts off a little cloth of her clothing with the blunt dagger that was inserted into her dress. Even though her leg hurts unbearably, she keeps going and bandages the area of injury with the cut fabric. She then opens the diffuser and lights it so it can serve as a tiny lantern. Then, Elodie ultimately comes across a really tiny passage. She continues creeping through it, sliding down in the course of things. Elodie attempts desperately to hold on. Instead, both of her hands are injured and exhausted, so she falls again, and the flames inside the diffuser pass away. With confidence in mind, Elodie stands up and begins to walk, noticing some light on the other side. After removing her wedding ring and throwing it into the abyss, Elodie steps backward and rushes to make a major jump. The opposite side of the cliff is slippery, and she is unable to hold on, but fortunately, her belt gets entangled in a rock, and she has enough time to pull out the dagger and put it into a crack to hold on. Then she uses the blade to climb the rest of the path, discovering that the light originates from tiny, glowing slugs. The girl stuffs a bunch of slugs inside one of the sleeves of her dress to create a lantern. Then, she comes upon a tiny lake, and when she tries to drink some water from it, she notices that it has a strange taste. However, there is dropping ice on the roof, so she stands underneath it, drinking water droplets. Suddenly, the ice begins to melt quicker, and the light passing through it appears red, signaling that the dragon is breaking across the ice with fire. Elodie escapes as the dragon explodes through the ice and lands in the tavern to catch her, this time as well. She reaches an entryway that is too small for the enormous monsters. In this tiny tavern, the girl discovers messages on the wall that read, "Safe here, she cannot reach," and with the letter V. Elodie looks around and discovers several girls' clothes, and she also discovers their names written on walls over the years, particularly the V for a girl named Victoria. Elodie then tries to sleep while embracing the lantern. Suddenly, she sees the spirits of prior sacrifices, suffering from terror and hatred. Elodie wakes up to see the slugs covering her leg injury. She freaks out and starts taking them out, only to discover that their slime contains healing powers, and her wounded leg seems to be healed. She places a slug on her second serious wound as well. Elodie feels better and looks around, finding a map on the wall, indicating that at least one female was able to escape. According to the map, she will find 3 routes in the tunnel and must select the middle one to follow the crystals and music to the outdoors. Elodie then tears off all of the awkward bits of her frock, writes her name on the wall, and walks through the middle path. She eventually hears a small tune and discovers the wall covered in crystals, which are the source of the sounds and also decorated in the sunlight because they are directly under the path out. A crown with the letter V on it was found nearby, suggesting that Victoria escaped. She eventually makes it to the exit just to discover that she is on the very edge of a gap high on a mountain. Elodie steps back just in time to see another writing on the wall that says, "Not safe," written by Victoria. A body can be found nearby, suggesting that Victoria died here and didn't leave the cave. The dragon prepares to kill Elodie, only stopping as she hears a male voice call out the girl's name. Lord Bayford has arrived with 2 knights, as well as a guide to find Elodie. When she enters a new tunnel, she is stunned to see 3 dead baby dragons, proving that Isabel is actually lying. A flashback indicates that the king had visited the tavern purposefully to kill all the babies. Therefore, the dragon's attack was a kind of revenge. She murdered all of the knights, and when it was the king's turn, the dragon promised him he would suffer the exact same destiny she did. Since then, the royal family has provided the dragon with 3 women mixed with their blood to be represented as royal daughters. She then discovers her father along with his troops, but she remains hidden for her own safety. The dragon kills all of the knights. Now it's Bayford's turn. He claims that he's here to defend his daughter and attempts to attack with his sword. Elodie hides around, waiting for the perfect moment. Bayford decides to give a heartfelt speech, expressing how sorry he is and confessing he made a terrible mistake before yelling for Elodie not to come out, forcing the dragon to push him and then stab him in the heart with its claw. Elodie says goodbye to her father and climbs quickly enough to avoid the flames. Elodie promptly rides her father's horse and in a few minutes jumps off to hide between rocks. Because the horse keeps moving, the dragon gets tricked and follows to burn it to death. The dragon then shoots fire into the skies, creating a terrible storm as a symbol that the agreement has been broken. Isabel promptly sends her knights to capture Floria. Lady Bayford makes an effort to prevent them, only to be stabbed in the process of doing so. Lady Bayford comes all the way on a horse, still bleeding. When Elodie hears what has happened, she goes back to the mountain. Meanwhile, Floria is led to the bridge, but because Henry refuses to complete the ritual, Isabel does it with her own blood and throws her into space. By the time Elodie gets to the bridge, everyone has vanished, and the dragon has captured unconscious Floria, whom the dragon does not murder because it wants Elodie to come after her sister. A desperate Elodie descends into the tavern with the rope, using her previous experience to get around faster. She tries to explain that they were all tricked by the queen, but a dragon refuses to accept her and attempts to breathe fire. Elodie stabs the monster's mouth. While the dragon takes the sword, Elodie falls into a lake and swims out. Suddenly, the dragon rushes on her and grabs her, making the chance for Elodie to stab the dragon's claw. Before the monster kills her, Elodie draws a dagger and hits the beast in the eye, prompting it to throw Elodie away. Elodie then stabs the monster in its chest, which causes only a little damage. As the dragon approaches, Elodie stands in front of the stalagmite and commands the dragon to set her on fire. However, Elodie moves at the last second, allowing the fire to bounce off the stalagmite, letting it impact the dragon and ultimately bring her down. Elodie then shows the dragon the scar on her palm as proof that the beast is killing ordinary girls, not royals. Then she gathers a few slugs and places them on the dragon's body, allowing it to fully recover. Meanwhile, in the castle, another wedding is being held. Elodie enters and tells the bride to leave with her relatives. Elodie then informs the locals that they can escape as well. At that point, the dragon appears and blows fire on everyone present, killing Isabel and all members of the royal family to bring it to an end. A few days later, Elodie, Floria, and Lady Bayford leave on a ship packed with gold and necessities for the people on their land. We really hope you enjoyed today's recap of the movie Damsel 2024. Please leave a comment below on what you loved about the movie and why. Be sure to like the video and please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss any amazing content. Until next time, light, camera, action. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.